I agree.
Yeah, and
I mean, I on Amazon more than every other streamer that has talked about Amazon. That's like what I do
100%.
professionally.
Which is why I was surprised during today's whole discourse that it was even like a contentious point. People kept saying that I'm just spouting whataboutisms, but it's not really a whataboutism. If you are on a platform.
Well, I think it's also just kind of unusual to hear you, of all people, talk about just like the incredibly exploitative nature of a multinational billionaire-owned company. I don't normally see that associated with a brand, but I mean, I'm not against it. It's cool. Hell yeah. I'm here for Comrade Critical. That's if that's where the water is flowing, if that's where the center, I mean, I guess the centrists are gonna have to make a choice eventually, right? It's either you can go towards the fash or you can go towards the socialists, and that's where the world will split. I just want to back this up a little bit so you understand the timeline here. Okay, so Austinx, if you don't know, is Hasan's editor and also a vegan, and also sometimes a cause of some of the troubles in Hasan's life, but to a comical degree, and also a masterclass in both trolling, editing, and a whole bunch of different things. Very, very skilled individual. Austinx is quite funny, and we do stand. I do want to say, though, Austinx has been taking a position against Kick.com. If you don't know about Kick.com, it's the new streaming alternative to Twitch, YouTube, you name it, that is very, very heavily, I think almost entirely backed by Stake.com, the cryptocurrency gambling juggernaut of which you've probably learned a lot of. If you don't know about how horrible they are, watch probably Mooncat's videos, a good way to start that one. So anyways, Kick.com is a vehicle to advertise Stake.com. To which degree, we're not entirely sure right now. We're starting to just get a feel for everything, but we do know they have incredibly deep pockets because they offered XQC $100 million to switch from Twitch to Kick, and he is now a Kick streamer. We've also seen what Aiden Ross has been doing with Kick, as in trying to see how far he can push the boundaries of copyright law, as well as pushing pornography on his very young audience, and a lot of other really yikesy things like interviewing neo-Nazis who say some really fucked up stuff, and in general just being disgusting and horrifying. So yeah, Aiden Ross has not been a great example of what Kick can do. Although pretty funny, I think Aiden Ross, or oh no, it was XQC. XQC was just straight up showing The Dark Knight the other day on Kick, and then like one of the Kick mods was like in his chat being like, hi XQC, just want to let you know that we actually technically are not legally allowed to broadcast copyright content in this manner, so if you could please stop streaming it, and we can. But I don't think he did. I don't know. I feel like Kick is trying to see how much they can get away with before the hammer really comes down on the streaming network. Now, as a leftist, I got to preface with, I do want there to not be monopolies and dominating in any field or category. I think there should be cooperatively owned, as in the workers should own the companies in which they work, and they should be able to own and run streaming services just like Kick or Twitch. I don't think Amazon is a good company. I think it's a terrifyingly bad company, and just like Kick can also be a bad company. So the argument has begun, and the debate. What's the morality of streaming on a site like Twitch, owned by Jeffrey Bezos, versus Kick.com, which is owned by those who own Stake.com. Anyone who streams on Kick is working for an illegal gambling subsidiary selling out their audience for a cash grab. You are bad people, and there's a reason they're dropping billions to convert your viewers into addicts. So, MoistCr1TiKaL says, Charlie, this take is a little confusing. Amazon is also an evil company with countless human rights violations and exploitations. Why is it morally okay to directly convert your audience to Amazon Prime subscribers for Twitch viewing benefits? Twitch has Amazon advertised everywhere and incentivizes your audience to buy their services while watching you. Stake isn't advertised anywhere on Kick right now except in the gambling category, so a streamer that is just doing normal gaming outside of that category never exposes their audience to Stake. Meanwhile, on Twitch, your viewers are constantly having Amazon shoved down their throats no matter what, thus supporting an evil company. I think streaming contracts are also better for your audience regardless of platform, because then you don't have to rely on your viewers giving you money through subs or donations, which I think everyone can agree is a good thing. Being able to turn subs and donations off so viewers can just enjoy your content without feeling the need to pay would be great for everyone. I imagine most streamers would love to not take money from their fans, and streaming contracts could eliminate that need. That would be wonderful if you didn't have to depend at all on your audience and you could just give away your content for free. You can just give away your content for free. I do it. You can leave your content and your VODs on for free. You can upload your videos on YouTube and don't paywall them and just put it all out there. And then people who can afford to can donate to your streams as well. But the bigger question here is, what's more evil? Kick.com or Amazon? as a company. In terms of global damage, there would be no competition. Amazon has done far worse. It's a far more powerful and far more pervasive company globally as a corporation. And it is a very, very horrifyingly bad company, as is Alphabet, as is a lot of these multinational corporations. You're not really going to find an ethical one about them. Especially, you can't really find an ethical one if they aren't cooperatively owned by the people who work there. And so Osinox responds, you didn't have to go over the word limit to say you can't tell the difference between a site that's only digital slot machines and a site where people buy laundry detergent. Steak isn't advertised anywhere on Kick right now except the gambling category. Brother, open your eyes. And then with the photo, Kick Beta here, category slots and casinos, has the most viewership, 29,000 viewers watching that category, and then just chatting, 16,000. And the next is Call of Duty, or Call of Woke, with 8,000 viewers and counting. And so Charlie responds with, and this is just the preamble because it'll fill it all in for when we get there. Moist is wrong here. Well, I'm going to give my opinions as well. You'll get my color commentary. I know that's why you tuned in. It's not just to see this weird beanie that I have. Oh yes, I'm going to play the Asmongold thing in a second. It's very weird to reduce Amazon to, quote, a site to buy laundry detergent when it's one of the most evil corporations openly operating today. But I guess it doesn't matter to you in this case because you can buy things from them. Your statement of, quote, where does the money for the contract come from is laughable when Twitch and Amazon's contract money isn't coming from a good place either. It's literally money made on the corpses of their workers and decades of human rights violations. Now, my only thing here is that, like, I'm not opposing the things that he says, but this isn't really Charlie's brand. I feel like Charlie is using a lot of terminology to gain an upper hand in this conversation slash turn-based debate of essay-like proportions, when I don't really feel that that's a lot of what you get when you watch Penguin Zero videos. You know, I'm not often sitting there where he's just like, now I'm gonna tell you about another company. This one sucks donkey dick. What they basically do is exploit the workers. It's bad. Then that'd be cool. Then I'd be like, all right, well, this is kind of his vibe. This is what he normally puts out there. In this case, it's kind of like this is one of the first times I've heard him speak in this way about a company. So the exclusive contracts myself, your boss, and every other Twitch streamer signed aren't morally clean either. A child served a Twitch ad saying, quote, buy Amazon Prime, free sub to support your favorite streamer and all these other benefits is horrible because it's funneling your audience into an ecosystem under the belief that it's a good thing because it's helping the creator they like. Kick doesn't have ads like the moment you gamble $20 a month on steak to earn a free sub to support your favorite streamer, but it might be a future, who knows? It is horrible if a kid sees their favorite streamer gambling and promoting casinos, and if the platform pushes that, then obviously the bad thing. So this one, you're just 100% wrong out of the gates because they are doing that. Absolutely, they're doing that. This is the reason why Train and a lot of other bigger streamers moved to Kick, because they wouldn't have to worry about the gamba anymore. They don't have to even think about it. They don't have to sit there and be like, well, it really depends on whether this thing is so heavily funded by cryptocurrency gambling money, of which they are making a fucking, like, this is the dominant company globally, stake.com, for cryptocurrency gambling, and they fucking make an insane amount of money to the degree now that we have this. You can see something like this on the verge of coming out. Kick understandably deserves criticism. I'm just confused on why you're all of a sudden minimizing the very real evil the Twitch peddles and making it seem like somehow it's a morally pure platform to stream on. I don't think he's saying that. I don't think Osinox is flexing and being like, Twitch, Amazon based, Kick.com corrupt and evil. So saith Osinox. Genuinely impressive. You can put into words everything wrong with Amazon exploiting consumers and workers, and in the same tweet say Stake's website is better for viewers because it, quote, doesn't have ads. I'm convinced, but you should tell the owners of Kick. Kick is a new venture created by the founders of EasyGo and Stake.com with new studios in Australia and Europe. Kick's gaming vision is the leading content provider in the gambling industry. Right? And one of the big reasons why I think they even decided to make Kick in the first place is because they saw the writing on the wall. They could see what was happening. Of course, there was going to eventually have to be a regulation of this entire, not only the industry, that's going to be coming a lot harder and a lot later, but streaming services taking a stance and being like, well, we do have a lot of streamers who are very popular and have large younger audiences. It's probably not appropriate for them to be watching nonstop, highly addictive slot machine cryptocurrency gambling things, especially with their favorite streamers, because think of this. The parasocial relationship you have with the streamer could be the one you love, right? Say it was even like Hasan Piker, all right? If they were watching Hasan and they watch him every day and they trust him and they see him suddenly winning tons and tons of fucking money, when Trainwrecks fans see that, you know, when they see their hero, their dude, when they see Trainwrecks win fucking $1 million just like that, The dopamine and serotonin goes off in their brains in the same way it does someone who is just gambling directly and winning. It's a smaller version of it, I'll grant you, but certainly they're going to sit at home and be like, whoa, yes, what an epic night. Trainwrecks, he just won a fucking $1 million. This is massive, massive for all of us, for the community. For the community, we're all winners. We're all winners, especially Trainwrecks. That's going to have an effect, and it's going to get a lot of people to sign up. The bottom line being is if they're giving Trainwrecks, what was his statement? I think $300 million. If they're like giving them that much money, they're getting an ROI. There's a return on investment here. You know, there is a fucking, you give me $1, I get 4 in return kind of shit. Charlie doesn't want to alienate his streamer friends who took the deal and doesn't want to ruin a potential contract with Kik in the future. As the famous quote goes, it is difficult to get a man to understand something when his bag depends on not understanding it. Well, see, the other things with this, by the way, for smaller streamers, the idea of getting just a paid salary from a streaming service, that would be life-changing. That would be like, if you are dependent on an affiliate on Twitch, you know, where you get like 20 to 30 live viewers, and then you're trying to make a living off it, especially people who are doing that full time, like they can't work in other situations or they have disabilities or whatever it is, this is their chosen career and profession, the margins are razor thin. You have to deal with the fact that like fucking they're going to take a massive cut. Twitch takes a huge cut of that payment. Twitch is incredibly exploitative of a lot of their streaming workers. Absolutely no question about that. There should be way better workers' rights, way better compensation. I don't think they should take a cut of smaller streamers. They don't need to. Smaller streamers don't make the majority of their money. The majority of their money comes from the fucking the Penguin Zeros, the MoistCr1TiKals, the Hasan Pikers, the Ludwigs, all those people. Those are the money makers, right? It used to be Amarath and XQC, but now they've moved over to Kik. If the goal is to create gambling addicts, then obviously it's unforgivable. We agree. I see Kik's owners say our goal is to create gambling addicts and go, that's bad. You see it and it breaks up the printing press to engage them in debate. Like, goddamn, this is their ad copy. Brand identity. Like, for what Ausinox is saying, I don't think there's anything wrong with calling out Kik, and I have not once heard Ausinox defend Amazon. I haven't seen him be like, yes, Amazon is the glorious empire of which we must all belong. We must all serve Jeffrey Bezos in all things. I get that you don't want to label everyone who works promo for the orphan crushing factory a bad guy, but you're out here arguing it's actually immoral to pitch your viewers on free shipping versus gambling disorder. Like, dude, and here, you know what? I'll give a little -1 to Ausinox because Amazon is very bad. Like, there's no question. I'm not going to ever posture here for a second that Amazon is nothing just but a shipping company. Amazon, outside of the fact that they exploit the labor of tens of thousands of workers, they have been so oppressive in letting that company like try to unionize. That's on like the good end. When you start thinking about like all the times you hear these horror stories in Amazon where it's like they have to piss and shit in bottles, they have to make all these quotas, people just died on the lines and they had to keep fucking being productive, especially under COVID. When COVID happened, there wasn't enough safety measures. There was actual fucking natural disasters that fucking ripped off the roofs of Amazon buildings, and they were still trying to get them to work through those natural disasters. Not to mention like how terrible they are for small and medium-sized businesses and people who have innovative products. They destroy innovation. Anyone who comes up with a thing that is like a really popular new product and it starts selling well, Amazon will then make their own version of it and then resell it as an Amazon product at like 1/8 the price and totally undercut that other company and fucking fuck them over. So even for the capitalists who are like, yes, well, Amazon actually is a capitalist innovation of the highest order, blah, blah, blah. And because Amazon is so ubiquitous, we're all fucking attached to it. We're all fucking, you know, all of us are Amazon. I'm an Amazon Prime customer. Yes, because like during the pandemic, what else was there to get you things? Even like when the times were extended, there was still like, oh, well, we need these supplies. I know, how are we gonna get it? Amazon. It's gonna be on Amazon, obviously. Everything's on Amazon. Fucking hell. But then ultimately, yes, let's go to this. Asmongold discovers Kik streaming is hard-coded to feature 2 stake gambling streams in the top 5 recommended sidebar, as well as 1 slot always reserved for stake stream in 3 featured streams on the site's homepage.
Kik's recommended seems to reserve the 3rd and 5th spots for gambling streams. There's a chance that could be the case. I mean, listen, obviously they're going to make money off of gambling. This would probably be smart to do. Who cares, bro? People are so weird about that. Yes, people are so weird about this, like trying to prove, oh, it's actually gambling. Oh, they're trying to get you to gamble. They want you to gamble. They want you to get. Oh, I don't give. Who gives a fuck about this? Who cares? Who fucking cares?
Like, By the way, if you don't know who Asmongold is, he's like a World of Warcraft, I guess, legend for WoW people. I'm not a WoW player, and I'm not trying to shit on WoW players. And you do you. But he's also like, he's always fucking the worst takes. Every time I see like, it's like, you know, one of these monstrously huge streamers. The dude has what, like 50 to 75,000 live viewers, kind of shit. But it's always him giving the worst fucking take on something. Like, what do you think about this new thing that just happened? Oh, well, shittiest take ever. And you're like, whoa, what? Shitty.
Just don't gamble, you fucking idiot.
That's okay. I am not here to censor people who want to gamble for fun or for sport or for whatever, just a gentleman's game, you know, or even do it online. I'm not here to cancel your good times. Go gamble if that's what you want to do, right? I'm not the anti-gambler, but there is no question gambling can be highly addictive, especially if it is exposed to people at a younger age. And if you're exposing a whole bunch of very young people in your audience, Aiden Ross, who has thousands and thousands of young fans who watch him live because of his fucking, I'm gay, but I'm not, lol. You know what's really fucking funny? That I'm gay, but like I'm not gay, right, bro? You know, like I'll suck your dick, but I won't. No homo. You know what I'm saying? But that's funny, right? Because I'm gay, but I'm not. But I am. But I'm really not. And that's why it's fucking hilarious. Yeah. So obviously a bunch of fucking teenagers are gonna be like, oh lol, that's fucking hilarious. He said he'd suck a dude's dick. That's the funniest thing in the world. Gay. And then boom, you have all these kids fucking doing this shit. Getting into this cryptocurrency gambling, you know, even if they're fucking little shits, no one deserves that. No one deserves the weaponization. And there's a reason why they're doing this, by the way, everybody. I just want to submit to the evidence. A company putting hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, to accomplish what they're trying to accomplish right now is looking to get a very high ROI on that, a very big investment, and holy shit, have the floodgates open. XQC is on there, motherfuckers. XQC is on there, and he's one of the Gambas. He's got his fucking 75,000 to 80,000 live viewers fucking looking at Gamba streams, and fucking now who else? Amaranth is going to fucking be pulling in thousands and thousands of people. Aiden Ross is already pulling in tens of thousands. Trainwreck is pulling in tens of thousands. All the other people you can think of. Kick is putting hundreds of millions of dollars into this investment because they know they're going to be making a lot of fucking money by starting a lot of young teenagers, especially young teenage boys in a really trying time who are trying to fucking make it and their lives are fucked up and all this shit and they're dealing with depression, anxiety, all the alienation that comes with capitalism, especially if their parents are in a fucking shitty situation who think they can now make it rich because they watch their favorite streamer just make $1 million fucking dollars on one slot machine play. Holy fuck, did you see that? Did you see the look on Trainwreck's face when he won? Did you see XQC go like, oh? Did you see the chat just go like this? The amount of fucking serotonin and dopamine that shit feeds you on that spot. You're like, yes! Oh, we did it together. The community just won $1 million. Fuck yes. Yes. Oh, this is amazing. Oh, I'm so high on this. Ooh. Oh, he's not streaming anymore. Maybe I should try to sign up for that website. Find a way to do it myself, you know? It really made it look easy. Made it look really easy. I totally forgot about every other night when he loses like $75,000, but it doesn't mean anything to him because he's given that allowance to be able to gamble it on his show. But I didn't even think about all those nights. I just thought of that one moment where he won $1 million, and that was everything. That was so cool. I want that. I want to feel that again. I want to keep feeling that. I want that dopamine release, that serotonin release. I want to feel like a winner, that winning feeling you get, you know? And then boom, wow, surprise. Thousands and thousands of new gambling addicts. One of the hardest addictions to quit, by the way. Yeah. I have seen friends and family succumb to fucking full on, like, you know, fentanyl overdoses, opioid addictions, all kinds of shit, alcoholism, you name it. But the people who lost everything to gambling, it is hardcore. It is hardcore and swift. Because you lose it all. You are fucking bankrupt, creditless. You are not trusted by anyone. Every single person who knows you knows that you're only contacting them because you first, hey, I got something, man. I got something I got to talk to you about. Like, seriously, I found some, and like, you got to get on the ground floor on this, all right? No, I don't. No, you are a gambling addict and you just want my money to keep gambling because that's the problem you have. So unfortunately, yeah, that's too bad. That sucks. And it sucks for the people who get sucked into it too, because like not everyone who is a gambling addict wanted to be a gambling addict at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm obviously not a fan of the idea of downplaying the severity of what Kick.com actually is.
I get it, which is why I said like I don't think like every single streamer that is taking a bag from Kick or Rap.
Did everyone just forget Slicker? That's true. Was it Slicker or Sliker? Oh, I've already forgotten. I was screwing that up at the time too. Yeah, lest we forget. And oh boy, did everyone come to his rescue. Slicker, that's right, Slicker. Slicker was a huge, famous fucking Twitch streamer who was oftentimes on the old, yes, racially titled Raj Royale Rumble, which was a bloodbath on Twitch. It was like the Jerry Springer of Twitch if it was before your time. And it would be every Sunday, and it would just be a whole bunch of streamers just fucking ripping into each other, opening up old wounds, talking drama, but the whole thing was under the guise of like one person survives, they get the massive raid, that's the win, and then that's how you make your career. It's kind of like a game show style. You could become a famous Twitch streamer if you can survive the gauntlet. And he would go on there all the time. He was very successful. He won a handful of times. He had a pretty big viewership. I think he was an over 1K Andy. And none of us knew this, but behind the scenes, he was reaching out to every single other major Twitch streamer, asking them for money. Just constantly asking them for money, just being like, hey, by the way, like, you know, I just need like you to float me, my bank locked me out or whatever. Or it would be like, hey, I just got this really big investment opportunity, it's going to be like on the ground floor, you got to get onto this, blah, blah, blah. Hey, by the way, and he was doing this to everybody. He was just Pokimane, doing this to fucking Hasan, doing this like every major like other Twitch streamer that he had encountered through interacting on these shows. He was just asking for money all the time, and we're talking not a little bit of money, like tens of thousands of dollars. Actually, was it over 100? I can't remember what the amount was, but it was like, it was so much cash. And then it turned out it was all to feed his hardcore gambling addiction. He lost it all of it. He just randomly was doing a live stream one day and was just like, he started crying. And then he's like, I'm a gambling addict and I have borrowed tons of money. Yeah, it was 100,000 from Train alone. Holy shit. Okay, so yeah, I borrowed tons and tons of money from all these people that I lied to. I told that I cared about. I lied to them why I needed it, and it was all to feed my gambling addiction. All of it. I lost it all. And you're just like, holy shit. And this happened under like all these people, XQC, fucking Ludwig, all of them knew him, obviously, right? Like they all like digitally. I mean, not maybe some IRL or whatever, but they all had lended him money, and he got a bailout. Because it was bringing a lot of fucking attention and smoke to Twitch streaming, the Gambler. This was around the time the Gambler was finally put under the microscope, and eventually it ended up taking down the Gamba fucking metaverse on Twitch streaming. And it was all like a big lead up. Slicker was the one who did all that, and yeah, so they bailed him out. XQC, I think, and Ludwig like paid off a lot of his like immediate debts to a lot of the small. Because like, oh man, it got so much worse. Actually, I totally forgot. Like, it was one of his mods or something. Someone had cancer. Someone needed money for like chemo or something like that. That's how vicious it was. And he had taken money from them to feed the gambling addiction. Like that's how bad gambling addictions are. And like it totally put into focus this entire conversation because it involved everybody. It involved the people you see before you right now. Like they had all been reached out to at one point or another from Slicker being like, yeah, like fucking I need more money, man. I just like, oh, you know, you just gotta help me. I'm locked out of my bank, or like, oh, you just gotta help me. So like someone just stole a bunch of money, or oh, you just gotta help me, like blah blah blah. This is going down. Just one week is all I need. 1 week and I'll pay it back. You know.
Other stake in this regard are like directly participating in that sort of thing, which is why I understand and hope that Kick could be an unmarried product to stake. I just don't think that is realistic. Okay, you look significantly less moist than I thought you were going to be. I've seen some videos.
Great start. Awesome start to a debate. You look way less moist. No, he doesn't have the moisturization going on, you know? The beautification project. Just a couple of good old boys looking to get moisturized.
I've seen some videos where you play basketball and then you fucking join and you look wet.
Yeah, this is one of those nights. I think the webcam's doing me a favor since I'm not on camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's dive in.
Let's dive the fuck in, baby. Let's go.
All right. You kick us off. I don't know how much of it you've been over so far.
So I'm in Japan. I don't know if you know that, but so I wake up every morning, it seems, to yet another 100,000 tweets about like I've done something wrong. So every morning I wake up and I'm just like, I look at my phone, I'm like, oh fuck. And this morning was no different. It turns out that you and one of my editors, Ostenox, got into a bit of a scuffle, a bit of a 1-2 online. And I feel like both of you guys are talking past one another, and that
this feels very civil. This is very not getting any angry energy, very wholesome energy right now.
Not to be too much of a
almost moist
on this issue, but
energy.
I see where everyone is coming from, because my perspective is not different than everyone else. With, I guess, one noticeable exception. I also don't believe that if you get like a bag from Kick to stream on Kick, and as it stands, don't do any kind of like advertising initiatives or, for stake, or even are openly criticizing crypto gambling and say that it's fucking bad and try to even maybe get it banned off of Kick.
I'm not gonna lie. See, that's where I have always positioned myself. I've said this before. Like, if Rumble suddenly was like, "Hey, Lance, we'll pay you like $100,000 to have a Rumble show," I was like, "Okay, so could I do a Rumble show about Peter Thiel being like an evil fascist and trying to destroy the world by basically bankrolling a lot of think tanks and fascist organizations, both in the United States and elsewhere?" That's what I'm going to talk about. I would like to talk about how shitty Peter Thiel is. But if you want to pay me Peter Thiel money to make a show about how evil Peter Thiel is, to broadcast it on the Peter Thiel network, yes, I will do that. I would definitely play that game. So if you got a Kick streaming thing, you'd have to get on there and you'd have to have the fucking "here's why crypto gambling is fucking trying to poison children's minds" show. And that's all I'm going to talk about for the next hour and a half. And that's what this is about. And I'm also getting that bag.
Yourself, I see it no different than getting a bag from anyone else.
Okay, yeah, so that's, I feel like a lot of what's happened here is a complete misunderstanding of my position from Ostenox. I'm never arguing Kick being a morally better platform. I just find passing a judgment on everyone's character who goes there to be a little hypocritical coming from a Twitch
perfect
perspective,
centrism.
because like I said, Twitch isn't like a morally righteous platform either, which I know you agree with. You've criticized Twitch openly, right?
Yeah.
So I just think it's very odd to say blatantly that if you go to Kick, you are a bad person for it. That's
I think
only thing I was taking issue with.
I think Ostenox was, he was popping off a little bit. I think that, I mean, a lot of these, he is vegan. That's probably why his moral compass is like a little bit stronger than both of ours. So that does make sense. But as far as like all of the conversation that has happened around Kick and Stake, I think that my speculation. Have you listened to me talk to XC about this with Pokey?
No, I said this before. I think you know this. I don't usually watch debates because I think it's not super conducive to an understanding, because most people go in there with like their side, their mind already made up, and they just count points. I prefer conversations like we're having. A conversation, I think, is more conducive to like an actual understanding. So I don't usually watch debates, so I didn't tune in.
I agree. I don't disagree with that at all. I usually use it as an opportunity to try to at least like get some people to understand a more nuanced perspective that I often am talking about, instead of like literal clips that they're seeing that are clipped out of context, and then they make like assertions off of who I am and what I represent. But as far as that conversation went, I celebrated XQC going to Kick like everyone else did, because $100 million deal for a streamer legitimizes streaming as a platform, as a vertical, and having that New York Times coverage be written is a good thing overall for the industry. And I do think that competition overall is good in this space. I would even go so far as to say is that I have some level of selfishness in this regard, where I think like I'm looking at it purely as like streamers being value providers for platforms, and on that front, it's good. I want there to be more competition, so Twitch can't make these ridiculous decisions because they feel free, as they are the monopolizing force in the live streaming space, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, go on.
I was just going to say another thing that I mentioned, and I think it's something that I imagine.
Hey, Jeff, thank you for the raid. Everyone, go to twitch.tv/Jeff_Waldorf. Give him a follow back. And why does Hasan need to feel like he has to play daddy? Oh, well, I think in the case of Aiden Ross, Hasan effectively was just going to try and stop it from happening before he was supposed to be like, he was asked to moderate it initially, and then eventually was just like, I just don't want this to happen, because like he only recently learned what the term fascist was, I think, like just moments afterwards, because people were trying to explain to him what Nick Fuentes was.
Most streamers would agree with. Those contracts are super valuable to the viewers, because if you're getting a bag like that, you are now being paid an hourly wage, I imagine. So you don't need to rely on viewer donations. Like, I bet if you could, you would prefer that you don't take money from your audience, right? Like, I feel like that's something.
Actually,
that
you know what?
overlook.
I probably wouldn't, because I think, well, I would love to not run any ads. That would be great, right? I think you and I agree on that. But no, I think subscription based, for me at least, is the best, because that way I feel like I have a level of editorial control that allows me to say whatever the fuck I want freely. You know what I mean? I would feel, because I understand that like these companies are ultimately bad, right? And I'm going to have a lot of disagreements with their business practices, that I feel significantly more comfortable being funded entirely by my audience. But I totally get why other people don't want to do that. I just think because of what I do, I would rather, you know, have a grassroots funding mechanism.
Okay, I can understand that perspective. I guess then I'll just speak from my personal beliefs. I would prefer, like,
It also doesn't save the audience money. Well, here's the way I would look at it. For smaller or starting up streamers, especially ones who are trying to grow, and people who are trying to do this as a form of either a job, a career, or anything like that, like I've said before, their margins are so razor thin. So for anyone starting in the industry, I would want them to have the support, especially because they bring value to these companies. The companies don't make nearly as much money off, like, you know, the bottom, millions and millions of Twitch streamers versus the top like 10,000. The top 10,000 are the ones who earn them all of their streamer based revenue outside of like advertiser and other forms of revenue that they bring in. And because of that, it's certainly apparent that the people who are starting out, they suffer. They like their contracts as soon as they become affiliates. Still, Twitch takes a lot of the money, and while Twitch takes a lot of the money to them, it might not seem a lot in the scheme of things because they might be making like $200 or $300. But for people who are starting out, that's a fuck ton of money. So it would be really nice if there was a mechanism in place to either, not have them have to take a profit share at all. Would be my first step. I would be like, don't take profit shares from people who are just starting out and only have like 20 to 30 viewers, because otherwise it's nearly impossible to climb out of that.
If I wasn't signed to Twitch, I would once again not be running any ads. I would prefer, I haven't had donations on my stream for
No, it has nothing to do with
5 years
XQC's
now,
deal.
and I would prefer not to have subs if I could rely on the Twitch contract to pay. Because I'd prefer that people just get the content, no hassle, no obligation to pay for it, and just enjoy it. But I can understand where you're coming from as more of like an editorial perspective, so I guess that makes sense. I'll just speak from my perspective then, that for me, I feel like the contracts for a viewer experience could be
a scalable, larger share from those doing well. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm definitely including myself in that.
Be elevated, because now you don't have that kind of like obligation, like I should really pay for this entertainment. The streamer's taken care of. And you also no longer have the obligation of ads, like you mentioned, where you don't have to run those.
Yeah.
So I just think there's a lot of benefits to just normalizing streamer contracts in general.
Yeah. I'm in a unique predicament, so it's different. I get that. One thing I will say though, however, is that the reason why I prefer a subscription-based mechanism partially is because, like I said, companies are bad overall. They do a lot of unethical things.
All these youngins.
And ultimately, I feel like Stake, which is the main funder of Kick, is generating value and generating revenue off of gambling. Unregulated crypto gambling online with not really a lot of age guards or anything like that. And Amazon is generating value by selling commerce, e-commerce, delivery services, and a fuckload of other stuff. AWS being one of the primary examples of this, which ironically also Kick relies on, and IVS. So that's how those guys, that's how Amazon makes their money. And both are in different levels and in different ways, unethical, right? Yeah. But ultimately, you're translating, you're substituting like one bad way of delivering content and like serving ads or potentially getting money from your audience to a different vehicle where the funding for stake is happening through people losing money gambling on their website.
Yeah,
So,
and sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. My bad.
no, it's fine. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, like you mentioned at the very beginning, for people that go on Kick as a streamer, there's no, at least not from what I've seen, necessitation to drive their audience to the gambling category of stake, thus driving that revenue personally. So I don't think the
Hey, Dark
streamers
Native,
are
good to
bad
see you.
people for
Everybody
engaging with a
Twitch.tv says
platform
Dark
that
Native. Give him a follow back.
is funded by an unethical company, like you mentioned, without them pushing their audience to it. Like, I don't think going to Kick necessarily means you're exposing your audience to gambling addiction if you yourself are just doing gaming streams or normal streams, right? And Amazon does make its money through commerce, but of course there is always that ethical dilemma where their money is literally on the corpses of their workers. You're a huge donor to like labor, right? You donate
Yeah.
to unions, and they're notorious for union busting. Like,
well,
there is
specifically
still-
Amazon Labor Union. Actually, I've had Chris Smalls on.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's
So,
the
like-
president of the Amazon Labor Union?
So like, it's not like that money's super clean either, but you as a streamer
was a good
aren't
episode.
the one making sure Amazon can continue to exploit all of those workers. You're doing your part to stand against it while still being fundamentally an employee of the platform. And I feel like that courtesy isn't extended to Kick streamers for some reason, when if they're just doing normal gaming streams.
This would apply if Hasan didn't ever talk shit about Amazon, like ever. Like if he didn't even fucking. What if he started singing fucking praises? You know, like unironically singing that Bo Burnham song. You know, Jeffrey Bezos, fuck their wives, drink their bloods. Come on, Jeff, get him. But he does all the time. Hasan's always talking shit about Amazon. It's fucking. He's just making a point right there. Where he's like, I've actually brought Christian Smalls on the show. It's fucking one of the very, very prominent figures of the labor union movement in general to discuss these kind of issues. And that's one of many, obviously. Yeah, I'm not trying to say that like Hasan has a perfect record. He's always just nonstop talking to union workers and blah, blah. I would say if anyone has that, it's probably Majority Report. Majority Report middle segments are usually someone where it's like, to the normie, it's a dry conversation, but it's like an important one where someone otherwise wouldn't have had a platform to talk about like this really, really important issue kind of shit.
They're not funneling those people to the stake money-making mechanism the same way you don't on Kick, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it, which is why I said I don't think like every single streamer that is taking a bag from Kick, or rather stake in this regard, especially if they're not going to be doing gambling streams or whatever, are like directly participating in that sort of thing. Which is why I understand and hope that Kick could be an unmarried product to stake. I just don't think that that is realistic. That was like a big point of contention between XQC and I when we had that conversation, where he was trying to say like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, Kick is actually a completely separate institution, and it's, we got big projects in the works, and we're going to sign a lot of streamers, and it's going to be totally different. And I want to believe that, but knowing what I know about this space, knowing what I know about the back end, knowing what I know about how expensive of an endeavor it is to do live web service, live web hosting, and knowing what I know about businesses, there has to be a return on investment for the main company, right? Stake being the main company. And that ROI is foot traffic into stake. That's just the truth. Now, it's an indirect way of doing it. Just like I indirectly, every time I fucking click an ad at the top of the hour or in the middle of the hour when there's a 1 minute ad, I'm running ads. It could even be a fucking DraftKings ad. You know what I mean? Like I have no control over that. And then I am being paid to do that. I'm being paid to, basically paid to drive traffic indirectly to another place that I would have an issue with, right?
What's funny is that when like certain people debate, they've kind of weaponized their chats in such a way where you can see the chat like aggressively trying to attack you as if like you were staring at the other person's chat the whole time, just to be like, oh my god, the chat is defeated. And then other people are just like, they start like posting links, or they start posting all this stuff like, oh, I hate this motherfucker, blah blah. But like Hasan's chat just roasts him like, the whole time.
So I get that. I just don't know where stake is going to go with Kick. So when I say, on the one hand, get the bag, it's great. On the other, I will always maintain the position that like Stake as an institution designed Kick after gambling was banned on Twitch. Unregulated crypto gambling was banned on Twitch. And I think that's ultimately always going to be their main reason for creating Kick.
Yeah, and that's totally fair. Like I said in the tweets, again, I'm just speaking as of current Kick. Right now, they're not funneling the viewers there through ads or anything. It is still relegated to one category. Once again, the same way Twitch is still having gambling here in one category. But like I said, it very well could be a more aggressive tactic to push people to stake, and that would be their big ROI play. But right now, it's not in the current cards, so I just don't agree with vilifying every streamer that goes there. Right now, Kick seems to try and be scaling as Twitch is fumbling, so they're just signing a ton of streamers, and those streamers aren't necessarily evil for
Allegedly, there's always 2 slots streamers and recommended, which is pretty fucked up. Yeah, that's what Asmongold just like basically discovered, right?
going there if they're not pushing their viewers to become gambling addicts.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this. The example I used for XQC was like was Britney Spears or Cirque du Soleil, which is a French Canadian institution.
Ah, bien oui, c'est vrai.
Cirque du Soleil has a contract with the M Group, which owns MGM and numerous other casinos in Las Vegas. Now, their goal for residencies is to drive foot traffic or to offer some additional amenities to people who will inevitably come to Vegas to gamble in the casino. But the main money-making operation for the casinos is the gambling, right? So it's no different than getting a residency in Vegas is the way I see it. Obviously,
Oh, I hadn't heard someone put it that way. Was that an original thought? If so, that's actually pretty clever. Yeah, it is very similar to that in that, like, when you go to Vegas, if you've ever been, and as soon as you go, you'll want to leave as quickly as humanly possible. There's so much entertainment that's like woven into like all these top tier world class DJs, pop stars, music acts. Like pop stars have their own residencies where they play every single night. The whole reason is that there's an appeal to Vegas outside of just gambling. But gambling is the point. It's all to get you in the door, aka in the plane, landing on the strip, into the actual strip in Vegas, to keep you there, to fucking gamble. Same thing with Kick.com though. You go to Kick.com, you might want to watch some of your favorite streamers. XQC's there, Adrian Ross is there, hey, Asmongold. Alright, there's a variety of different kinds of streamers. Go enjoy the shows, go enjoy the content, and then while you're there, maybe check out the casino. It's going to be pretty heavily advertised to you. It's going to be like recommended here and then maybe up here as well, just around, just while the person's streaming and stuff like that. Looks like I was putting up gang signs.
There is a different conversation to be had when there is no regulation whatsoever revolving around this, because like there's still a Nevada Health Commission even that can make assertions on, how much unregulated gambling is happening in the state of Nevada, or there's some regulation revolving around this. There's a physical barrier of like being able to go to Las Vegas and gamble in this physical space. So it's still not perfectly comparable because stake is, the access to stake is what makes it so damaging, in my opinion.
Oh, Amaranth, sorry.
Because you can do it from the comfort of your home.
I got Asmongold and
you
Amaranth.
You can very easily sign
binding
on
in the
and
brain.
just, like, put your money, immediately put your fucking credit card information and like get, start getting it twisted.
By the way, if I could summarize the point of disagreement, I think they both agree. Both companies are bad. And he is not saying that you shouldn't be able to not stream a Kick at all. Hasan's saying if you're going to do that, then go there and also talk shit about, how shitty Kick is, just like I do for Amazon on my platform. But I'm fine with that, right? Get that bag, and vice versa. They're not seeing eye to eye, that they both kind of agree, I think.
And I think that is
more than they disagree.
That is the reason why it's like uniquely even worse than other forms of gambling. But ultimately, I think streamers that are getting that bag from Kick at this time should remember that. They should carry that with them, and they should be very aware that ultimately they might be, whether reluctantly or inadvertently, driving traffic to stake.
Yeah, we're definitely not in disagreement on any of these points. Once again, the core is just, like you said, don't view everyone that goes there as evil for doing so. And I feel like to pass a moral judgment on everyone while still being on Twitch is just a little odd. It just seems like an overbearing response. Yeah.
Look, I can't speak for Asanox. He is his own person. But as far as like the way people have been perceiving Pokimane, for example, I think it's been unjust. She has had her perspective on crypto gambling from the jump. Same goes for myself and many others. And I think people just like latched onto it and turned this conversation away from like the meat of the argument, which is Kick's relationship with Stake and like what that might present in the future to basically like, oh, well, everyone is on their fucking moral high horse. Like, fuck these people. They're wrong for shitting on Kick. You know what I mean?
Admittedly, I haven't seen too much of the Twitter discourse. I've kind of not been super involved until today. So I haven't seen a lot of that, but I could totally see that happening there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's on Twitch as well. I mean, it's everywhere. Like everyone is now coming across like they are rushing to basically separate Kick and Stake. The main person doing this is XQC. And I think that that's unreasonable. That's wrong. Like that's one position that I will not move on because I know that Stake has an interest in beefing up Kick specifically so they can, at least to a certain degree, drive traffic to Stake.
You know what kind of sucks about this whole thing is that it really is like a bomb waiting to happen, like something really bad. If you think about the multiplication of the negative outcomes that can happen if we have tens of thousands of young, and I'd say predominantly teenage boys who, again, they're not in a great state right now, what with the world being what it is and everything being what it is as well, and their parents probably having a really hard time under the current, inflation, all the things that are going on in their lives. So their lives are tough. They're watching their favorite streamers. Thousands and thousands of them are getting addicted to cryptocurrency gambling through this whole thing. Thousands of them are going to fucking sign up for this cryptocurrency gambling, and the vast majority of them will most likely lose a fuck ton of money or whatever they have access to, putting them in an even worse place in addition to that. And that's the reason this whole thing keeps scaling up. Like if you think of like the Gamba meta used to be a bit of a joke where it was like, it was a couple mainstream streamers who did other things, but then they started becoming just really big gambling streamers. And then it was just like, there was just this sea of all these other streamers who just completely switched over to only doing slot machine gambling because, wow, how could they not? It was just fucking making them millionaires, millions and millions and millions of dollars are suddenly going into their pockets. And now it's expanded to such a size that we have these monstrously huge names. Everything from the biggest Twitch streamer ever, XQC, is now one of them. Trainwreck is another monstrously huge one. Aiden Ross is another huge one. Like, these are all huge ass streamers, and they're all being bought out, moving over there, fucking promoting vast amounts of cryptocurrency gambling.
Like
yeah,
that's,
and I think it'd be silly to deny that. Like,
so yeah, you agree with that? Okay, so that's good.
Of course,
so we're in agreement there. Okay,
next
great.
is a midnight.
So
Thank you
there's
so
a
much.
vested
Appreciate
interest
it.
in Stake still having a presence on Kick. 100%. I think that's pretty noticeable.
Yeah, I've just seen so many people
Line Pillows, thank you. Petfuls, thank you.
Not a real thing.
Tokyo Hands,
or I
thank
guess
you as
now
well.
they've moved on
Elemental
to being like,
Joy,
well,
thank
Amazon's
you.
bad too. And Amazon is bad. I agree.
Yeah, and
I mean, I shit on Amazon more than every other streamer that has talked about Amazon. That's like what I do
100%.
professionally.
Which is why I was surprised during today's whole discourse that it was even like a contentious point. People kept saying that I'm just spouting whataboutisms, but it's not really a whataboutism. If you are on a platform.
Well, I think it's also just kind of unusual to hear you, of all people, talk about just like the incredibly exploitative nature of a fucking, multinational billionaire-owned company with a small board of directors where shareholder value is what really dictates a lot of decisions and positions of tens of thousands of people whose workers' rights are fucking deplorable at best, as the workers are forced to shit and piss in bottles to make quotas and fucking. Yeah, it was just, it's like, I don't normally see that associated with a brand, but I'm not against it. It's cool. Hell yeah. I'm here for fucking comrade critical. If that's where the water is flowing, if that's where the center, I guess the centrists are going to have to make a choice eventually, right? It's either you can go towards the fash or you can go towards the socialists, and that's where the world will split.
Form that you agree is morally corrupt, and you're passing a judgment on another platform for being morally corrupt, I don't think that makes it a whataboutism anymore. You can't really do that. You can dislike that platform, you can make all of these points against it, and you're totally right to do so. But I don't feel like if you are still supporting an equal, well, I'm not going to say equally because they're very different, but if you're still supporting an ethically compromised.
I would say the goal of what Kick and Stake ultimately are trying to accomplish is far more insidious. The purpose of running a casino or a gambling center is simply to be able to extract as much raw money, not even for labor, just extract people's money. That's how the casino wins. The odds are always stacked in the casino's favor, so they turn a profit. They are businesses and they make a fucking handsome amount of cash from it. They impoverish people professionally. That is what they do. That's all they're set up to do, is to impoverish people. And typically it's people who can have, socioeconomic problems to begin with. Alcoholism, addiction. That's one of the reasons why they force feed them tons and tons of free booze when you're in Vegas in the casinos. It's not all in all on an up and up. I'm not against people gambling or doing games of chance. I think, hey, even if you did have no currency whatsoever, people would want to gamble and play poker against each other, even with Fruit Loops or whatever bartering thing that they wanted to do. It doesn't matter. People would want to play games of chance. I'm not against that. But you do have to understand the sheer size scale of this problem right now and how it's just it's ramping up, and it's ramping up way faster than any reporter has even done a glance at. Like, this isn't mainstream news right now. This is not filling in the second page of the Times or anything like that. This is straight up just like, if you're really online, you'd see that there's this big, huge amount of money being poured into a massive streaming service that your parents might not know about, but their kids do. Oh yeah, their kids do.
Entity, it just doesn't make sense to shit on everyone else and say that their ethics and morals are trash and they are bad people for it. And that's just kind of where I was today. And I don't know how it ended up getting so personal. And I will say to Austinox, you said if I don't stream on Twitch anymore, then you'll stop streaming on Twitch. You got to get ready for that swan song, because like I said, once this contract's
Austinox doesn't
over,
stream. He was baiting you. He doesn't stream. Austinox is just my editor.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, like, he's got to get ready to pack those bags, because once this Twitch contract is over, I will be trying like YouTube and seeing how all of that goes.
Yeah,
I still do think that when you are on Twitch, you can't really be passing, or rather, if he's not on Twitch, then if you are openly supporting Twitch streamers and taking money from Twitch through the Twitch contracts, directly supporting Amazon, feeding Amazon ads, promoting Amazon Prime for Twitch benefits, you can't really reasonably pass these ethical, moral judgments on other people elsewhere.
No, and for the record, it's impossible to, as it stands, maintain a platform if that is what your goal is. If you're like, for me, relevance and expanding my audience and, speaking about certain issues that I see in American existence or globally, that's what I care about, right? I want to be able to make these arguments to as broad an audience as possible. And for that purpose, it doesn't matter where I go. I can go to Facebook. Facebook, Meta, literally facilitated a genocide in Myanmar. I can go to Google, YouTube. Google is developing AI technology for the Defense Department to utilize. There is no company that you can work for that is going to have no blood on their hands. But there is a difference. What I think a lot of people see is the difference between like the output versus the way that the way that Amazon is bad is very different than the way Stake is bad. Does that make sense?
Right.
I think Amazon is hyper exploitative, but ultimately,
and Amazon on a scale is doing more shit globally than Kick is. No question. I'm just saying, between the two business models, that's why I was trying to really emphasize what exactly is the entire business model behind a cryptocurrency gambling website. It is, again, to extract as much money as possible from people. That's it. That's their business model. They want to extract as much money from as many people as possible and make as much money as they can through that process. That's it. That's what my company does. That's, if you want to grow my company, if you want to invest in my company, work for my company, or do anything involved with my company, including doing entertainment at the casino. You can do we need singers, dancers, performers, streamers, gamers. We need gamers and streamers. If you want to go perform at the casino, hell yeah, come in. You'll bring in a lot of customers, a lot of new people, tens of thousands of people live right now. Look at that on kick.com. What effect's that going to have ultimately? if that's the entirety of the business model. And again, I'm not going to downplay the severity of those two companies. Amazon does way worse globally than Kick.com does. I'm just saying the business model behind Amazon and what it seeks to do, it's still a corporation and a company that has to produce things such as a commodity of shipping, for example, or producing products, stuff of that nature. It's not just straight up, we just want to make people broker. Like the brokening. The more we can extract money from you, just the more poor we can make you, the more money we make. So come in here, play games of chance, and lose statistically, on average, more than you win. That's the way the whole thing's set up. And when it comes to fucking slot machines, I mean, at least people who play poker professionally can make a bit of an argument that there is an element of skill involved, and there certainly is in being a poker player. But for slot machines, these are AI-driven monsters that's programmed from the ground on up to extract as much money as is humanly possible from someone else, studying you, learning from you, learning your patterns and behavior, and then learning what they can do in kind to be able to encourage you to spend more money, right? Like at any given time, it's like, man, I should probably stop. I've only got like $1,000 left. Woo, weird. I just won this triple, double, triple. I don't know what that is, but that came out of nowhere. Oh, awesome. All right. Well, let's keep going. More. Hell yeah.
Their product or their service that they're providing is a useful one that could still exist in an ethical manner, whereas unregulated crypto gambling is not. Like if it was regulated, if it was a physical space and the barriers of entry existed, I still would have issues with this vice being promoted, obviously, but it would make me at ease a little bit because of how little you could get like 12-year-olds to fucking sign on with their mommy's credit card to go and gamble.
Yeah, those wacky little digits on the back. And I totally understand that for sure. It's just as it currently stands, like while the service Amazon provides is obviously far less harmful than the service Stake provides, it is still a service that is provided on the backs of this hyper exploitative industry. So
100%.
Yeah.
So,
no, like I said,
100%.
And no question whatsoever. Then again, I'm just trying to tell you what the two industries' purposes are. Like, what do they contribute to the world? One is that we produce commodities, we exploit the labor of our workers, and we also do global shipping at a rate at which no one can match our competitive speeds and distance. So that's what we offer. And the other one's like, we will make people as poor as possible for profit. That's what we do. We want to extract as much money from them as possible. That's our business model. I mean, you can barely even posit that in exchange for abject poverty, you're getting a form of entertainment. Sure, you are. It's definitely an addictive form of stimulation. But like at the end of the day, I got to see the three mermaids line up, and then that made the shark appear out of nowhere, which then made the water of the beach go over all the numbers, and then coins came out the bottom, and then I made another Bitcoin. So that's what happened.
Yeah, like I don't think that's what's been driving me kind of a little wacky today. Like we're not disagreeing on core components here. It's just labeling people that are also doing morally, ethically things or questionable things as evil or bad. I just don't think it makes any sense coming from a platform like Twitch.
I like how people like Charlie, Comiarch. Yeah, hey, Hasan, you have the power. Force him along the path. Force him to learn the truth. No, guide him along the path, gently, consensually as well, and lovingly. I do want to add, though, about the two companies. Yes, I agree. I'll say time and time again, globally, in terms of its effects, Amazon is having a much bigger detrimental effect on both society and the feasibility of preserving humanity past these 1.5 degrees of heating that we have managed to succeed to reach ourselves at. It is just a much larger company by nature, and it is far more, global and pervasive than Kick.com is. What Kick.com is dangerous for is, again, the only product it offers, if you're talking about Stake.com, is impoverishing people for profit. That's how they make their money. Even if they say they're entertainment, that's what the business model is. They want to make people as poor as possible in exchange for as much of their money as they can get. That, once scaled up, is kind of the danger here, because we didn't really have Kick.com, aka Twitch equivalent streaming platforms that people don't really realize, because the main press hasn't caught up to this yet, is actually a vehicle for promoting a very, very, very well-funded and well-powerful casino, but an online casino that's actually skirting a lot of laws by doing a lot of exploitative things in other countries.
And that's just kind of the core of the whole.
No, I think it's because people understandably have issues with crypto gambling, and that's why they're getting upset at what they perceive is going to happen what they
XQC
perceive is
said
going
the
to happen
conversion
with
rate was
Stake, because you and I
2.7.
both understand
Oh,
that
wow.
like Stake's main purpose for Kick is not to build like this completely separate institution that is somehow going to be profitable in and of itself, when Microsoft failed to do so and Amazon seemingly is failing to do so.
Yeah, anarcho-communist put it well. Twitch is a company Amazon bought because they thought it would make them money. Kick is a platform that Stake created to get people to gamble. It's not the same. They're both, in essence, right? Like, neither are good companies. And like, both people are correct in that, like, hey, Hasan's not going to speak praises about Amazon, just like, you know, Moist, I don't think is going to speak praises about Kick.com. Neither are trying to do that. He wants to point out hypocrisy when it comes to Austinox, but I don't think that's even fair, because Austinox never said Amazon is good, you know?
So even though they have billions, multiple billions of dollars in infrastructure spending already designed.
XQC said it was 2.7, like it was bad. 2.7% conversion rate. No, that means they are effectively converting and spending money. Like, if they're getting a 2.7, does he mean an ROI as in a return on investment? As in every dollar spent, they're getting 2.7% dollar return on investment? Then yes, if they're converting through that method, or do they mean the conversion rate into how many people who watch him get converted to becoming customers? In which case, we're talking much higher numbers. Then that would be thousands of people. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's not good either. It was the percentage of users. Oh, that's not good. Okay.
To be able to do this web service, live web hosting services, if they're not able to make it happen, then Kick is never going to be a separate profitable institution.
There's a 2.7% overlap between the
especially when
platforms.
they're relying on
That's a lot of
Amazon's
people.
IVS and Amazon's AWS to exist currently. So that is the reason why people, understandably, I think, are putting, I guess, the cart before the horse and making criticisms about what Kick is going to be in the space, what Kick is going to mean for Stake in general. I think that's what people are upset about. That's what they're saying.
And I think that kind of sums it up best. I guess I was focusing more on present, like what Kick is currently doing in the present versus where it could be in the future. So I think that makes a lot of sense, and I guess it's a matter of we're going to have to wait and see what it does do. Because again, it does have vested interest in Stake being a huge partner.
Yeah, but in the present, it's really bad. They're pointing out they're moving so rapidly and aggressively right now that the biggest streamer on Twitch left. XQC's gone. He's on Kick now. $100 million. That's like, come on. Those kind of numbers are, ooh, even for, like, you know, your Marvel superheroes. That's a big ass payday. That's a lot of fucking money. Okay, like, what is Joe Rogan? 200 million. That's the largest podcast contract purchase for an entertainer in history. Like, come on.
But if it scales hugely, maybe it does separate entirely, and it's no longer a marriage between the two. That could just be pure hopium, but there is still that potential where it is its own entity that stands on its own if that's the direction they decide to go.
I mean, I just don't think that they're ever going to fucking be able to, like, create the bandwidth. You know what I mean? Because, like, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's a Herculean task for sure. 100%.
Yeah, and the reality is, like, yeah, they right now, they make what? They do the 95-5 splits, which is great. Every company wants to come across like they are super consumer and user friendly when they're first beginning to operate. Right now, Stake makes what, $2.8 billion in gross revenue. And a lot of that is just pure net profit. Let's be real, because the overhead is so minimal for, again, an unregulated crypto gambling casino. So for that reason, they are able to make these crazy, broad, vast expenses and get in the news. And it's no different, in my opinion, than like purchasing an ad spot for Chelsea Football Club or on Formula One. And that is, you know, that's what they're doing, basically. This is a little bit more direct, though,
Twitch, this
because
is
it's not just
contract. Gotcha. Thank you.
Buying an ad spot on your Formula One driver, but instead inevitably creating an ecosystem where you can funnel direct traffic in every way that you want to back to your, back to your casino.
Yeah, once again, totally understand that. And in the future, it very well could be even more aggressive with how they choose to do that. But currently, it is still just localized to a single category, which again is a category Twitch has and does well on Twitch that funnels people directly into those other unregulated, shady casinos as well.
Yeah,
but again, in the future,
the way I see it is this:
absolutely get much worse.
We talked about hot streamers, right? Like the comparison I made is like, When Twitch said you can't have OnlyFans links directly to your fucking OnlyFans off of the Twitch streams that you're doing, right? What did hot tub streamers do? They created link trees, right?
Yeah.
They created link trees. The link tree, and that's precisely what Stake is doing. It's just more expensive, but they've basically created a link tree in the form of Kick. So they have like one more layer in order to basically create an environment where they can still funnel.
I like the other metaphor way more. Like I totally agree with the idea that stake.com is the casino and kick.com is the show. That it's the Britney Spears residency. It's like, Skrillex 5 nights a week, Avicii right here front and center playing at kick.com. That's what all the streamers are. That's what all the gamers are. That's what everyone basically coming out and doing all those things is on a regular basis. Yeah, Penn and Teller. It's Penn and Teller. It's all of that.
Direct viewership. Now that's also
Oh shit, yeah, I completely forgot about that. Not Avicii. Rest in peace, Avicii. Sorry.
happening. And that's also happening in a very successful way already. For the record,
Necto.ca
XQC
or underscore CA.
revealed
Thank you
some
for the
numbers
prompt.
to me while we were having a conversation that he thought actually defended his position that like Kick and Stake are
Celine
completely
Dion.
unmarried
Absolutely.
from one another. But it actually is really devastating. There is a 2.5% conversion rate between Stake and Kick as it stands. Now, 2.5 is incredibly high for websites, right? Like,
You have to remember, of that 2.5, those people who are joining stake.com, you don't know how much money they're spending, but they're going there to load up their wallets with cryptocurrency and then gamble that cryptocurrency, and holy fuck, and lose a lot of money.
0.5
is very high
actually an
conversion rate.
incredibly high conversion or overlap. Sorry, an overlap rate, but it is conversion for the most part. In comparison to like the CTR that you get from a banner ad or a CTR that you get from like slapping steak somewhere, right? It's I think we were looking at some numbers.
I guess that's true. Is French, huh?
It's approximately 25 times higher overall than like a banner ad. So that, especially when the way to utilize Stake, for example, is through a VPN, is pretty good evidence that this is their goal. This is their main purpose. And it's not just people being like, oh, well, this was created by a casino and people are friendly with the casino. That's why they started gambling on that website. And that's what it's going to continue to be. It's more insidious than that, in my opinion. I do believe that. Does that make sense?
I understand, yeah, and that is a very high rate for sure. I do wonder if a lot of that is because most of the people on Kick are gamblers. Like, that is their biggest category by far. And I do wonder if it would stay that high if they, let's say they sign...
That's conversion rate, though. He's not talking about people who just are already gamblers and go there to watch. He's talking about how people who are viewers of Kick then convert into signing up for stake.com. Or am I getting that wrong?
Let's say they do give Dr.
Because I assume that's what he meant.
Billion dollars, whatever. If he only games on there, would that number go up with the people that go to Stake? Or is it just...
So XQC basically started on Twitch and then tries to direct a portion of his Twitch viewers to his Kick stream where he ends his Twitch stream. Yeah. So he's just basically, he's building up his, 50,000, 80,000 live viewers here. And then all of a sudden he's like, all right, everybody join me at Kick, and then jumps.
It's going to be mainly they stay on Kick, they watch Doc, and if he's not promoting the gambling section, it'd stay the same or whatever. I just wonder if it's because it's only mainly gambling fiends there right now that kind of push that number higher. And
Probably.
I don't have the answer.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also the fact that they have an overlap map ready to go is a little, especially when you're having a conversation about how like separate Kick and Stake is. It's just like, well, why do you even have that data so easily and readily available? Like there's a ROI there is what I'm trying to say. So yes, you're right. When they expand the user base, that number will inevitably go down for sure. That number is also probably lower than what it actually is due to, like I said, you having to use a VPN to access Stake in many of the countries where you can easily access Kick, right? So it doesn't directly translate to a one-to-one user conversion. But there's a reason why, as far as I understand, Greece, for example, and other European countries will definitely start following suit, has banned not only Stake, but Kick as well. because they see it as a marketing vehicle, like a direct marketing vehicle.
Yeah, I haven't read that, but that does sound about right. I believe they also banned, was it FIFA for pretty much the same thing
Yeah.
for unregulated.
Remember, it's still illegal in the US. You know what's wild? It's illegal in the US, but it's somehow legal in Canada. So all these streamers, like Trainwrecks, moved to Vancouver, and then I think, well, XQC was already from Quebec, so he just basically, I guess, moved back. But Aiden Ross moved to Canada too for a while when he was doing that Gamba stuff.
Gambling.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds about
They're
right.
I mean, EU's much more aggressive, even though ironically there's a shit ton of gambling in the fucking EU, but there certainly is more aggressive regulation. Eddie claims the Greece ban was a mistake. I mean, maybe they'll change.
No, Kick is legal. We're talking about stake.com. So even if you wanted to go like he's saying, a lot of people in America do gamble on stake.com. There's no question, but they all use VPNs. You just have to use a VPN, then you can log into the website.
But as it stands, I understand why they would take a precaution like this. You can't even open CSGO cases in the Netherlands. Good.
Oh, you're gonna ruffle some real CS:GO feathers with that.
I love Gaben.
You gotta keep that one under wraps.
I love Gaben, but fucking, I've never been able to get a goddamn knife. It's fucking bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. They should have more cool stuff that you can get with fucking crates.
No, you're just bad at gambling. You gotta pay Gaben a little extra cash on top for those knife odds.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. That's probably what it is. I get it twisted regularly, but it just fucking doesn't work out for me. But yeah, Stake does literally say it's a direct marketing vehicle, explicitly states why they're building it. I don't know why people are refusing. You're not refusing that. Like, you see Kick as a open marketing vehicle for Stake, right?
Well, there's clearly a vested interest, yeah. I just don't know if the whole direction of the company is going to be filter everyone to Stake, because I think they probably would have already started doing that by now, but maybe it's just too early. So maybe they will in the future.
So,
I understand for sure.
Here's what it's like. Here's what it's like. So, remember when these numbers were coming out on Stake's end, or on like crypto gambling websites that were like giving streamers like Aiden Ross, fucking 4 million, 5 million a month. And those numbers were actually like low in comparison to what they ballooned to, right? That to me shows that obviously they're not doing that. When they were doing it on Twitch, they weren't fucking doing that because like 100% of their audience is going to gamble. There's going to be a tiny fraction of their audience. There's going to be a lot of people in their audience that gambles, and then a tiny fraction of that audience that will become lifelong gamblers, right? So in that sense, it's just the same thing with extra steps. But having said that, I still want to believe that it at the very least could be different. We'll see what happens. But my main point of contention here is when people try to separate Stake and Kick, which I think is ridiculous.
It's not separate right now. It's not.
It's not
100%. Not yet, and it may never be.
Why would it ever be? That would be wild.
I would like if it was a legitimate competitor in the streaming space.
The whole purpose of it is to promote Stake,
because competition is a great thing for the space. So I would like.
No one disagrees with that.
It has that separation, but right now it doesn't.
Yeah. And I don't think it will because of how this industry works. Like, there has to be an ROI, and that ROI comes from conversions. So that's what it is, in my opinion. Like, that's where the value is. Like, and it also kind of makes sense why they fucking hate me so much, because I've heard the owners of the website fucking talking shit, saying that I'm doing like nail painting streams or whatever the fuck. I don't know. They're like, or train routinely, dumping on me. But
ROI is return on investment. So if you spend $1 on advertising, what's your return on investment? How much do you sell afterwards and get back? Do you get $2 for every dollar you spend? Well, that's a good return on investment.
I would be upset if someone took a very profitable marketing tool that they had away from them. You know what I mean? Because I think Twitch without Kick was significantly better ROI for them, when they could just like give a singular streamer $20 million to do like a fucking gambling contract. they were probably way better off than like having to give Amazon money for AWS, having to give Amazon and like hire coders to like launch a website.
Yeah, like Kik is a much bigger investment, but it's an investment with a purpose. And like I said, they have deep pockets. Clearly, if they're spending $100 million just on XQC, I don't know what the other contracts have been, but they've nailed like at least 10 huge streamers already, and every single one of them has got to be in the millions of dollars at least for their initial contracts to be able to get them to like sign up for Kik and do this whole thing. So it's like they are looking to make a lot of money back.
Giving Amazon money for IVS. All of this stuff is eating away at their marketing budget because it's this is their marketing arm.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
It's an ad.
It makes sense. I'm just confused on where the controversy has come from then from my tweets today.
I think everyone is talking past one another because I guess there's a layer of moral
Amaranth was 50
culpability
million. Wow.
here that people don't want to see, and you either look past it by saying every company is evil, just like I have.
How does this end? An Escobar style standoff? Well, the thing is that like we've never seen anything on this scale before, where like, you know, this is being done in the digital realm as opposed to things like the development of Dubai or Vegas, right? Very, very large casino based economies, and even entire little towns and villages that can be built in cities built around the very concept of having a gambling economy. This is it being done on a global scale online, and this time it's using gamers, influencers, streamers, entertainers, digital entertainers as their form of bringing in a, let's just be completely honest here, much younger demographic to cryptocurrency gambling, specifically online on a much larger scale. Like no matter what you think, there's constantly going to be a streaming presence on Kik with all of these massive streamers who are going to have now hundreds of thousands of viewers live who are watching technically a casino gambling streaming service. They are the show, right? They're the Cirque du Soleil off on the side, the Celine Dion's, you know, whatever you want to call them, that bring people in. People will fly out of town, buy tickets just to go see Celine. You know, my heart will go on once I get there. We'll see. And then once they sign up, they watch it. Hey, you got to walk through the casino to get to the theater, you know? Why don't you try a little game? There's a free drink in it for you. You sit down, we'll get you anything you need. What do you want? Alcohol, it helps you think. That's what it's known to do, right? Alcohol makes you a lot of good life decisions. You know what else we do? We pump O2. Yeah, that's what you're breathing. You're breathing pure O2. You know when you have like a gas mask? Yeah, no, that's O2. Why? Oh, because it keeps you awake and gambling. That's why. Oh, did you get that drink yet? You ordered a triple, right? We free pour. What am I saying? Here you go. Drink up. Let's see how this goes.
Said, or you can't look past it and you say, well, what the fuck? How is this any different than getting a crypto gambling sponsorship? You were critical of getting crypto gambling sponsorships, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. Like people look at that and understandably, like I see both sides of the argument. That's why I said like I'm aware of where people are coming.
The O2 hardly cuts through the cigarette smoke, Joe. This is true, by the way. Oh my. Like, Vegas is one of the few places still left, you know, where you can go into, like, you're indoors and you just see all these people just, like, hacking butts, just fucking sitting there. And, like, you know, you gotta, like, waft through the smoke to get through certain rooms. It's, like, it's really intense.
Coming from. People see it as no different than they see, or here's how it is. People see steak. They see how damaging steak is. They see Kik as a marketing tool for steak. And so they see these contracts that people are getting as purely crypto gambling contracts with like one extra step. That's why they have this issue. So it's a lot of the anti-gambling evangelists who were understandably frustrated with crypto gambling that are saying the same things now. That's why they're saying it's evil and it's shitty to get like deals from Kik. And I think you, on the other hand, are saying, well, maybe it's not going to be that way. Maybe it could be something different. That Kick could technically exist as a separate entity, a separate institution. So let's sit back and wait and see where it goes before we get mad at it. Plus, every single company has blood on their hands regardless.
Okay, I think I understand then how this got out of hand on Twitter today. Then, okay.
I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I can't speak on, like I said, I can't speak on what Ostenok's opinions are on the matter. He's a separate person, and I don't.
I'm not trying to treat you as his mouthpiece or anything. It's just this was the drama today, so that's just kind of where my head keeps going. But yeah, I think this was a pretty insightful look at the whole situation. Then, so appreciate you taking the time to sit down about it. Then, and hopefully.
The same people defending Kick are the ones who pro-clutched with the hot tub stream. Oh, the tale as old as time. Yeah, they were all losing their minds. Oh, ladies are showing their breasts. Yeah. It's like, well, there's some dudes doing it too. It doesn't matter. It's not a gendered thing. You can have a hot tub stream if you're a man or a non-binary person. And if you happen to be femme presenting, well, of course, they're going to make you put on a bikini because there's that whole weird double standard and everything. But either way, yeah, it's a thing. But yeah. I don't know if that's nearly as insidious as getting kids addicted to gambling, and that could be a very difficult decision, or addiction, I should say, that they have to work with the rest of their lives.
I was kind of clear on where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Nice Tim Pool hat. No, I'm not trying to Tim Pool. My headphones broke, so just holding them together until tomorrow.
That didn't inspire confidence at all.
No, I get what you're saying. Like, I get where you're coming from. And ultimately, when you talk about Amazon's labor practices, like, it's true. I'm not going to fucking sit here and be like, that's wrong. Like, I'm never going to defend Amazon in that regard. I do believe that, I guess the way I described it from the beginning was, as far as totality of evil goes, given how vast and expansive of an empire Amazon is, Amazon, as it stands currently, is absolutely a worse evil on the planet than steak is. But if we are talking about evil per capita, I guess, for how limited amount of influence and how limited amount of a space that you occupy, steak is more evil per capita than Amazon is. Does that make sense? Because Amazon's output is still valuable. It's a product, it's a service, it's commodity production that will always exist. We're not going to live in caves. You know what I mean? Like, the technological improvements are good. All of those types of things are good. It just could be done in a less evil fashion. It's how that commodity and that service is produced that's bad with Amazon. Whereas with steak, the output is always bad as it stands, without any sort of serious regulation. Like, steak existing in the way that it does currently is genuinely threatening, in my opinion, for a lot of people. But then again, I also have a lot of opinions on gambling and marketing gambling products to people, especially younger audiences. I think it's just overall really bad. I don't like DraftKings, and I don't like the sports betting shit either, for the record. And I do think that these marketing initiatives that these massive gambling companies are engaging in, they're doing so with the express purpose of having people defend it, having regulators start taking notice that these are big players in the space and allow them to exist comfortably when their main service is to...
And it ruins relationships? Well, yeah. I mean, if someone has a severe gambling addiction, it can ruin a lot of different relationships, not just like, a sexual relationship or a personal relationship. It can also ruin friendships, families, everything. You can destroy your entire life.
To basically get people hooked on a vice that is very deadly, very suicidal, very dangerous.
And I think that's a totally understandable perspective that I don't think you have a lot of pushback on, for sure. Like, I get that 100%. But like you said, these things are measured in evil per capita. So I guess I felt like Twitch kept getting a pass because there's a bigger separation from Amazon to Twitch. But I feel like that's still just wrong.
No, there is no separation. I made this exact same argument to XQC where I told him, like, look, but I think that Amazon's goal with Twitch is quite literally to be the monopolizing force in the live streaming sphere, so they can literally fucking utilize it to shill Amazon products down the line. Like, that's the whole fucking point. And the same goes for steak, but the steak products is unregulated crypto gambling, which is precisely the reason why I have a different perspective on that than I do with Amazon. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I get you. Okay.
Anyway,
Who's getting
if you want to,
I don't think
if you want
anyone,
to dip out, I don't want to hold you any
No,
longer
I
on
just
this.
I just want to shower. Like I'd be
He wants to be more moist. He's like, oh, please, Hasan, let me go moisturize. I need to moisturize. You gotta let me do it. Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form. Available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
Thank you kindly to our Lord and Saviors Peyton L. Just and Xander Corvus. Without you, we are nothing. And now, a shout out to our Knights of the Square Table. Amazing Flesh, Anna Loves Riley, Adrian McCarthy, DM Rivera, Doug Cady, Everything Important, Hegbard Celine, Izzy Solidarity, La Media Panza, Matthew Scarborough, Multimondi, Nettle, Omni, Peanut Butter Blonde, Political Papi, Quiet 185, Rachel K, Riley and Anna, Roller Dragon, Kubi, Cernicus, Spinach Monster, Stellar Vision, Sebastian Demmel, Thomas, Trevbot EXE, Lucidry, Words Greenwood, Cheryl Alvarez, Tony Perkins, Thomas, O'Pecker, Travis McClinton, and Victoria Bell. Thank you so much. And a huge shout out to all the other people who make this entire show possible. Without you, it would not exist. If you can support us, please go to patreon.com/theserfs, and even $1 can help unlock all of the little goodies and help make this show entirely possible.